Let's continue our series of 5 EDC mistakes that you're making that you can fix right now to improve your own EDC. Now, last time we did this video, we talked about 5 mistakes that you're making, and I'll link that video up for you guys right down below, right underneath the like button. And we talked about some things, but now I've taken notice for even more things I'm seeing on the YouTube universities. I'm seeing when I go to other people's houses, in comments, or within myself. These are 5 EDC things that we probably can whip into shape. Number 1 has to be improper EDC organization and customization. What does that mean? First of all, organization has to do with not only how you organize your stuff daily when you use it, but also how you store your items, how you keep your items. Do you have the humidity level right? Do you have the temperature appropriate for where you're keeping your items? If you can't control the temperature, maybe you should keep your stuff somewhere else. When it comes to customization, sometimes that is important when it comes to ergonomics. In other words, if you are left-handed, can you customize that item for your use case? Can you move the pocket clip over? Are you able to move the side click or the bolt action function of that pen that it makes more sense for you? If you have some type of other impairment where you don't have that much dexterity, or you're not able to use your limbs or your phalanges as easily, you might want to think about that type of customization. And then sometimes customization is even important when it comes to aesthetics. There are things that we buy, or whenever you're trying to get into a habit, they say oftentimes it takes 21 days to either make or break a habit. And if you're trying to get into the word of EDC or incorporate something new in your EDC, say for instance, beforehand you never carried a Hank or a multi-tool, if it's customized to your liking, maybe it has, for instance, in my case, if I have something that has the Marine Corps logo on it, I may be more prone to carry that item if I didn't have it before. Maybe you need something that's similar as well. Don't sleep on organization and customization for your EDC. Now, just because your stuff is nice and organized doesn't mean you can just take everything out and rock out with your, well, you know what I'm saying. Understand your local laws, whether it be for your state, your city, your municipality, whatever the case may be. You need to understand what you are and are not allowed to do when it comes to EDC, not just with your boomstick, but with your knife. Is it allowed to be automatic or assisted opening? Is it allowed to even lock when it's open? Does it have to have a continuous motion? Are there restrictions on blade shapes, on blade lengths? This happens all the time, where people get so excited about a new piece of EDC gear that they don't even think about the fact that they're not going to be able to use it in the location that they are at. So I used to live in a location where you could not carry an OTF or out the front knife. Now I'm in Texas and you can basically carry whatever you want. But if I make the purchase of an OTF, they'll still send it to me. The dealer will send it. The reseller, the person I buy it on Facebook Marketplace, whatever, they're going to sell it to you. That doesn't mean you're going to be able to carry it. And unless you're going to EDC inside the curdling or the castle that you reside in, that can be kind of boring. But if that's all you need it for, then do you, boo-boo. You do you. The third mistake I see all the time is not planning for the EDC gear that you're actually going to need. For instance, I used to live in East Cleveland, Ohio. We would call that the inner city. Others would call it the hood. I knew that when I was entering my house at night, I had to have my flashlight at the ready. What does that mean? I need to plan either that morning or the day prior to actually carry a flashlight in my EDC, because I can't be bumbling around trying to enter the door, because people get jacked, people get hung up and that type of stuff. If it looks like you don't know what you're doing, or opposite, if someone thinks you're breaking into a house because you're taking too long to get inside, that is a worst case scenario to put yourself in danger because your EDC was not ready. The other side of the totem pole, something super innocent is taking your kiddos to the park. I do that all the time. There is no way that a part of my EDC there won't be at least an ouchie boo boo kit, sometimes a trauma kit. In my case, I like to carry trauma kits, but anything that I can begin the healing process first is having to wait for medical help to come for something that I know I can be able to do. So planning for that EDC ahead of time, a lot of people don't do it. They have their normal everyday carry that they carry every day, keys, wallet, keychain, whatever, and then they don't deviate from that. Be okay with deviating from your normal carry. Because I would imagine that if you were going to a NASCAR race, there may be some stuff that you would carry versus if you were going to a TSA checkpoint at an airport. So you always got to be prepared with your EDC, whatever the case may be. If you're helping a buddy move, maybe you want to bring a lesser than knife, because I prefer to do stuff like, for instance, Mrs. X, she owns a decor company, so she had to decorate a wedding. So I knew that there was going to be a high propensity that I was going to be handing my knife off to people I just met or I didn't know at all. So I decided to carry a more budget-friendly knife. I carried the Remit knife. This thing is coming in with a 14C28N blade steel. Full disclosure, they sent this shit out to me. But even if I would have bought this myself, I probably would have been more prone to carry something like this versus, you know, carrying one of my more expensive knives that I will be super worried about because I'm helping, you know, get something ready. If you're helping a buddy move, for another example, is, are you going to be with people that you don't know on that same moving occasion? Do you really want to hand them your brand new Benchmade Mini Adamas with the brand new colorway, or your brand new Benchmade bailout with the titanium scales that cost $400? Maybe not. Maybe you don't want to do that. So plan ahead. Actually think about your EDC that you need for that specific occasion. Number 4, I've talked about this in a previous video, but on the other side of the totem pole. In this case, buying underpriced gear may not be advantageous to your EDC. Last video I talked about overpriced gear. This one, you may want to avoid some things that are overpriced. Let me give you a scenario. If in the same establishment, you can buy beef jerky, malt liquor at 40 ounces, and a pocket knife, one of those three should not be purchased in that establishment. In other words, you may not want to get an undervalued or underpriced pocket knife because it may fail you in a time of need. The hardware may fail, the pivot, the thumb stud, whatever the case may be. Sometimes you want to spend a little bit more money on those items if you need them. Maybe you do want to have a gas station knife in the armrest of your truck as a super duper emergency, but literally in your pocket every day, it may not be the way to go. This is not just for pocket knives. This also has to do with stuff like first aid kits, multi-tools. Basically, for me personally, if anything to where I have my hands wrapped around something, my phalanges wrapped around something, and it could fail and hurt me, I want to make sure it does not do that, and I'm more prone to spend more money. I'll link up also down below, right below that like button, a video where there's 4 EDC items I always splurge on, and you might want to check that out to determine if you want to buy some items that are not undervalued. This next one I probably could have led off with, but I think it's easiest to conclude the video with buying stuff because it's popular. I don't know why I didn't include this in the last video, but now as I continue to see these companies come after our scrotums with some of their items, and they're going after the popularity win. Benchmade is the easy example that I can think of. They come out with knives in 2017 and 2019, which are incredibly popular, such as the Bug Out, the Bailout, the Adamas. Then they just repackage it, maybe give it a better scales or better blade steel, and then they shoot it back out at us, give it to large creators. They showcase it, it becomes popular, it gets upvoted on the subreddit for EDC or on everydaycarry.com, and then next thing you know, we're buying popular items that we don't need or you already own. I wouldn't buy stuff just because it's popular, because there's a couple of reasons why. A, you may not know how to use it, or B, you may stick out like a sore thumb. You have that super popular item that everyone wants, it can make you a target. Do you need both a Gerber dime and a Leatherman squirt? They almost basically do the same thing, small multi-tools, butterfly style pliers with a pair of scissors. Maybe you want both. I own both, but do you need both? Because the Gerber dime is incredibly popular. Maybe. It's up to you, but don't buy stuff because it is popular. You don't need the JRW Curator. You don't need to buy that Nuck or that bead because everyone has it. If that's what you want, if you're a collector, then go for it. Matter of fact, all my 5 mistakes, if you want to do those things, do them. You want to organize and not customize and just not know your local laws and do whatever the hell you want, it is up to you. You are a grown person, I am assuming. You don't need me to guide you on avoiding these mistakes, but they may be helpful if you do avoid some of these mistakes. And I will tell you this, if this is your first time stopping by the channel, you should hit that subscribe button, join the battalion. We like talking about stuff like this quite often when it comes to EDC, man cave, and survival and prep stuff. If you're already subscribed to the channel, I'm not talking to you, okay? You've already done what you need to do. We appreciate you for stopping by once again, watching me run my grape. There's a lot of places you could have went, but you came here once again, and I appreciate that. Everyone else, we'll speak